Hello, babe. Good evening. Why do I have? Hello, babe. Good evening. Why is my? Why can I still see my heroes on there? Hey, Carol. Good evening, and welcome. Actually, made it this week. Don't worry, Carol. She didn't take me up on it. You'll note no replies, which is pretty much what I got when we were kids too. Hey, Rhonda. Hello. How are you? How's North Georgia? Or whatever part of Georgia that is. Well, there's a Monarch Moments. Is it halftime already? Just finished school. Hot and lots of heat. Yeah, well, I don't know about, I hadn't been out to look for heat lightning, but it's hot here too. Well, you can tell I haven't brushed my beard today. Diana and Mike are here. Ian's here. Why don't I see all these people? Because I'm in Top Chat, probably. Hey, Mike. Welcome in. And Diana, hello. Ian, congrats. How about that game the other night? Oh, well, that's okay, Ian. Thanks for stopping by. If you get to come back in, we'll talk hockey before I leave. I never really figured that live chat, top chat thing off. Why does it always default to top chat? And why does that even do it in my own chat rooms? I don't either, Rhonda. Like I said, why does it always default to that? Where are you going, Terry? Well, Carol, you missed your chance to see Tedward. He's decided to leave. Apparently, he thought he should be on first tonight. I managed to save a little bit of coffee. Oops. Nothing up my sleeve. Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. I'll tell you what, guys. I need to start all over again. Pouring my coffee into the wrong receptacles. Taking the wrong lid off the bottle. I guess for busy chats, it helps people stay caught up. Who knows? Oh, well, maybe that's true. I was talking to another streamer who shall remain nameless tonight called Garrett. And he and I were trying to figure out how you'd keep up with it. If you were trying to have a conversational kind of a chat, not just a live stream in the park or something. How you keep up with it? How you keep up with all the chats? And I guess you do slow mode or something. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. Live chat might help, or top chat might help. Supposedly, it leaves out less important aspects of your chat room, which I'm not sure how that's decided. Okay, guys, get your Monarch moments filled, because I know that Garrett's watching the basketball game tonight, so he may be here, but I'm not sure he's here. I'm not sure he's with us. If I missed, just in case, let me look here. Go Celtics! So, oops. Hear that, Garrett? Go Celtics! another country's been heard from. Ever truly with it. True. That's true, Rhonda. You've got a good point there. Um, I would say he's here in spirit, but yeah, I don't know. How's everybody else doing? If I missed you in the chat, please say hi, and I'll post something, and I'll make sure I say hi. I don't want to miss anybody. And I don't know. I feel like I'm scattered as a wheat thrashing. Garrett knows I could care less about basketball. This Garrett is multi-talented. Well, I guess he could be. My guess is he's tasking more towards the ball game, though. Just a thought. Time I looked, it was a pretty close game so far. Ian's gone, but if it was the other night, if I'd been watching and trying to chat the other night while I was watching the hockey game, I would have probably been more hockey game because it was definitely a close one and a good one. I don't know. Basketball seems like it's about all the same. Run up and down, throw it in the hoop thing with the net on it, and run back down the other end. Do it all over again. Okay, Rhonda, take a snacking. If I'll kind of wait till you get. You want to take us on a snacking with you? My hat's crooked. I have trouble. I don't know if my hat's crooked or if it's my head that's crooked or if it's my glasses that are crooked. My glasses tend to end up ways a lot, and I think that I have one ear that's higher than the other. Does anybody else have that problem? Is that just my head? I've, I've run into a lot of things in my life. Maybe I knocked one ear down sideways a little bit. On airplanes for a living, you'll understand. My head's got more divots, and crevices in it than the side of Grand Canyon. Tim is a crooked guy. Well, I think you could say that in a lot of ways, Carol. Not. I hope not in a criminal sort of way, but definitely in a physical, geometric sort of way. I'm definitely a crooked man. There was a Western called or once was a crooked man. Anybody remember that besides me? There's not any old people in here though. Okay, Brenda, you don't have to tell everybody. Or if you've seen me walk, I don't know if anybody in here has seen me walk actually, but I am crooked. Definitely crooked. And if I don't use my cane, I'll get even more crooked. Or maybe that's a wobble. I don't know. Is that the same thing? Okay. I don't know how long we'll be here tonight. I don't know how long this will last. I don't know how long. It might depend. Same with my husband. Oh, your husband, Carol. Oh, maybe he and I need to get together, Carol, and talk crookedness. Or is he the crooked criminal kind? I guess I better clarify. One moment. That made my eyes water. Carol's husband's your hero? Maybe we need to have a talk about this. Okay, I got another Monarchs moment saying, "Hey Tim, am I missing something? Or is this another Monarch?" Timeout. Tim is my hero. And now I don't know who that is. Is that Gabe? Is that Gabe on there? All right, Brenda. I'll bring your money up when I come up. Chicken enchilada. I don't know how to say. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Is that Suiza? Mm-mm. She has chicken enchilada something. Susie something, and I can't. I'm sure I don't know how. I just don't know how that's pronounced. Now it's another Stitch. Oh, that's Michelle. Well, see, Michelle, I can tell that because you got your name out there. Sue Sue Sue. I bet it's a lot faster than that. But it's not sushi, right? Just checking. Okay. Let me take the moment here to pull up my. I just got a few slides tonight, so don't worry. And Ian's not here, so Ian doesn't have to worry about falling asleep if I put up a. Come here, buddy. Ian's always worried about falling asleep if I put up some of those, government type slide programs. Come here. What's the matter? Come here. Come over here. Come here, buddy. Come on, pop up. You want to see Carol? Huh? You want to say hi to Carol? Teddy's my hero. You want to say hi to Carol before you get sleepy? Come here. Oh, come here. Say hi, Miss Carol. Say hi. No. Yeah. Bella says hi. Rhonda said Bella says hi to you. Okay, you ready to go lay down? His hero is that snaggletooth cat that's the Predator's mascot. Isn't it? You like that saber-toothed cat, don't you? He says his son Teddy told me his scientific name was Pteris Smilodon, or maybe it's Smilodon tetrus. It's probably more correct. Man, he's been such a good boy lately. And been such a sweet boy, haven't you? Yeah. Tell you, when a cat that big lays down in your lap to take a nap, you don't get up for a little while. So I just put together. This is going to be. I've decided because one, the ball game's on tonight, and I might have lost some company to that, Garrett. But I also realized earlier, actually, before I even told him this, that I was thinking about splitting this up anyway, because what I'm going to talk about tonight and what I want to talk about later or next week are all heroes. This is about heroes. And I have a different point I kind of have a different point to make tonight. And then next week I want to talk about more modern day heroes that I feel like are important, or that are people that are real heroes to me. So let's well, how do they say that in the old cartoons? Without further delay, on with the show. Of course, I wasn't ready. So I put this in. I never know if you guys can read this very well, so the title was "What Makes a Hero and Who Are Our Heroes?" And to make my point, because when I grew up, I think we had different heroes, maybe, but well, I'll get to that. I forgot I added this slide in. And, I think about what are heroes and what do people think of heroes or superheroes, and I got are our heroes of the past or the future or the present? Are they real or imaginary? And I hope I'm not offending anybody by saying imaginary. I got a lot of lag. It may just be me. It may be me mentally lagging. And whoops, why did that happen? And I don't know why that did that. Why is that doing that? Oh, I know why it's doing that. And does it really matter? I mean, if you have a hero and that hero is a good example or sets a good standard for you to follow or to live by, maybe it doesn't matter if they're alive or dead or imaginary. When I was growing up, these are the kind of heroes I grew up with. Roy Rogers, Lone Ranger, and Tonto. And Tonto was one of my biggest heroes just because I always figured he got the raw end of the deal and was probably did most of the work for the Lone Ranger. I figured it might. If you're watching on the phone, I'm sure it's super small, Michelle. That's why I'm reading them. So, but if you can see these pictures, this is Roy Rogers on Trigger, who was a hero in himself. And then over here we've got the Lone Ranger, Silver, his horse, and Tonto. Anybody remember the line from the Christmas Carol movie where he needed one more word to fill out his crossword puzzle so he could send it in and try to win a major award? What was the Lone Ranger's nephew's horse's name? Scout. It was named Scout, I think. Okay, you're lagging there too now. I'm not sure what to do about that because I'm sitting at home and I'm not out wandering. Let me know if it straightens up. I'm gonna get to that, Garrett. Another one of my heroes growing up was Audie Murphy. If you've ever heard of Audie Murphy, if you haven't, you should have. He was a movie star, yes, and he did a lot of Western type movies and some other things, but really where he was a real hero was in World War II. This kid joined up when he was underage and nobody wanted to take him in. He finally got the Army to accept him, although he tried to be a paratrooper and he was too small. And he got somebody to lie for him so he could go in early on his age requirement. And he ended up being the most decorated soldier in World War II. And, Audie Murphy was a real life hero. And unfortunately, he died in 1971 in a plane crash. But he received honors from the USA, from France, and from Belgium. And I think there's a couple more, including the Congressional Medal of Honor. Okay, well, let me hang on a minute. If you guys are freezing up. Mike Cabral, has never heard of that guy. Seriously, Mike. Mike, how's it up your way? You getting a good picture? If it's not coming in on my end, it's probably because maybe everybody in the neighborhood's on their internet right now. I don't know. Probably got something to do with this blame ball game behind me. Shell says she's fine. I've not had a lag problem often and not for a very long time. Well, I'm going to keep going here because, like I said, I only have a few slides and then I'm going to gab. We had a little bit of lag in the beginning, but it's fine now. Okay, Mike, thanks. You never, seriously, wait a minute. Let me back up a minute. You've never heard of Audie Murphy? I mean, I guess I understand that. You don't live down here, but I'm afraid most Americans don't either anymore. I mean, at one time they would because he was in a lot of movies and was involved in a lot of things. And this picture at the bottom down here, those of you who are on the phone probably can't see it very well, but this is his marker. And I don't know if this is in Arlington or not. He was from Texas, so this may be somewhere in Texas. But every year they still go to they honor his gravesite on, I don't know if this one's on Veterans Day or Memorial Day, but they honor it every year because he was such a highly decorated soldier. I mean, he turned out to be, I don't know if I could say unafraid, but he just did some remarkable things in the heat of battle that nobody else did. And while he was wounded a time or two, he did live to tell about it. Pretty amazing guy. Look into him sometime. And while I know it's a movie and there's certain things about it that are probably not right, look for the movie To Hell and Back, Mike. And I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon. I don't know, it might be on Netflix, but it's true in the order and how things happen. That some things are probably mixed up, and that's. Hey, Jonathan Chong, good evening. But he was a real genuine guy and did a lot of, I guess, as honorable as you can be in a time of war. But he was a brave young man. So anyway, moving right along. And of course, then there's your heroes, and you grow up and find out that they're really just hamburger joint owners. I'm not sure if there's any Roy Rogers Burgers places left or not, but well, roast beef burgers and chicken, it says here. I actually never ate at a Roy Rogers. And then I thought I'd throw in Captain Marvel for one reason. Does it matter if heroes are male or female? I mean, I think I have to say I've got both. I really do, and I don't know if to some people it matters and some people it doesn't. But I think, or the color of their skin or their ethnicity or whatever, I don't think that part matters. And this might be my next to the last slide. This is an iconic image of Superman with the sun rising, Oh, and I had to throw this in just because Brendan and I watched Black Widow the other night, and I can't remember who it was. Said, "Why do you do that?" Oh, it was her sister. She said, "Why do you always do that?" And this was what she always did, this superhero pose. I'd like to know who came up with that idea. I don't know if Batman ever did that. Robin might have. Anyway, I guess that's one of the things you learn at superhero school, maybe. I think that's the end for now. That's the last of the slides. Now I will have more slides next week. So if you don't want to see slides, come back next week. Or no, don't come. Well, you probably wouldn't come back next week because I'm going to have a lot of slides. But let's get a little deeper into this, and I'll tell you what started this. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I mentioned it to actually Garrett. We were talking one day a couple weeks ago, and I told him something I was thinking about or feeling, and I need to get this off my screen. Hang on a minute, guys. I thought this would go off. Okay, there it goes. Mr. Lightning. Okay, who's Mr. Lightning? Anyway, it's been a rough few weeks. We had the top shooting in Buffalo, and then the Uvalde shooting, and I don't know. Sometimes it seems like there's one or two every week anymore, and it just continues on. it always makes me think about something a friend of mine said one time. I don't remember the circumstances, but uh, he said we were trying to do something or something had happened. His comment to me was, that's why we still need Superman. And I thought about that a lot, and I've talked about that and thought about that comment a lot over the years, which has probably been 30. I mean, it's been a while, and I always thought heroes could be important. Oh, okay, Jonathan, I get it. We'll let him hang on to that moniker then. And heroes were different. TV was different. And the people, they made, generally speaking, TV shows, movies had somebody in them who, generally speaking, had some redeeming qualities that were hero-like, whether they were a Roy Rogers or a Lone Ranger or even Superman. And again, there's probably nobody in here old enough to really remember the old Superman. Oh, I missed that, Rhonda. I'll have to check into that later. That's yes, Mike, they are crazy, and I won't go there tonight. But maybe we're just crazy. I don't know. You need Frozone to blow on it and chill it down, or Mr. Freeze. Anyway, and I often think, we talk about all the reasons why these things happen, and none of us have a good answer. But growing up, when my heroes, and I'm just saying this in a chronological perspective, but when I was young and impressionable, I mean, a little younger than I am now, my heroes tended to take captives and shoot the wound, or shoot somebody in the leg, or shoot somebody in the arm, or Superman just picked them up and took them into the jail. And people weren't killed so often, occasionally, but not so often. And then movies and TV kind of changed. I guess people got bored with the fantasy world of that sort of heroes, and decided, no, that's not how it really should be. People should kill each other, and it should get bloody and gruesome, and it is. War is hell, and it's bloody, and it's awful, and it's really nothing to make a lot about. But I don't know that we had to see it all the time, at least not all the time, and not in everything we watch, because that's kind of how it seems sometimes. And I'm not sitting here as a TV critic or a censor. I'm not that at all. But I do wonder sometimes how that mindset affects people, and maybe it doesn't at all. And I'm welcome to your opinions on that. And then, so I have to wonder sometimes, fast forward, how many of those types of issues affect how we act in everyday life, and if those superheroes matter. Does any of that make a difference to somebody growing up? All the violence in movies has desensitized society. Well, Michelle, sometimes I think that too. I mean, I used to kind of push back from some of that, because it's kind of like, well, maybe we shouldn't be. I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, if I say, well, it doesn't me, that doesn't mean it doesn't somebody else, and it probably especially doesn't apply if it's a young child. I had a conversation one time years ago. It's been quite a while back, and some of our relations, I won't say which side of the family, had some young children, and they didn't want them to watch the movie Lilo and Stitch, because they had heard from someone that Lilo and Stitch was satanic and full of all kinds of nastiness, and they were not going to let their children watch such a thing, and they were giving Disney the devil and just fussing about stuff, because that's what they had heard from somebody. So they took that as truth, and so they didn't watch it. But yet they would take them to see other movies, Men in Black, which is not necessarily an overly violent thing, but it wasn't exactly. As I recall, the language wasn't exactly, for small children. But they would take them to movies that to me seemed like they were far worse than that. And yet, they wouldn't take them to see Lilo and Stitch. And I thought, man, I'm not sure what that says about how we're growing up. And it's got to do with what we believe and what people say to us. Rhonda says, I think more parental guidance, making sure the kids don't watch what they shouldn't, has a lot to do with it, as well as horrible ideas on mental health. I won't disagree with that. I think it's really hard, honestly. I think it's really hard for parents, unless you just take TV out of the equation, cut off the internet, and to some degree isolate kids. It's hard. I think it's hard to prevent some of that. I mean, it's hard to keep 24/7 eye and control over children. I mean, I know for a fact that when I was growing up, if I had wanted to sneak out the window at night and go do something, like steal a pumpkin, mom and dad would have had hell catching me to just that kind of thing. But I know that's different. But I don't know. My parents kept things to my age level, explain when I had questions about anything. Well, that's how we tried to raise our kids. But, it still doesn't mean we didn't miss things. And as they got older and had more friends and did more things, I think they saw and learned more. But hopefully what we taught them and told them about and the things they learned, both from us in school and their grandparents and other people, did help. It all mixes in. And I don't want to get into a discussion of parenting, because Lord knows I don't believe I'm the best parent in the world. But, parents, I do think parents have a lot to do with it. But I'm not sure. I've seen some people that I consider really good people and have the dangest kids, sometimes it's really hard to figure that out. And if you got kids, and I know some are, I don't know if everybody does in here, but they don't come with a manual, so you're kind of on your own for a big part of that. And I always wondered, who taught my parents how to raise me, and how do I learn how to raise my kids? And Carol might have a good point here. She's a school teacher. True, Rhonda. However, the parental controls available on most channels are a joke. If I set them to the lowest level, everything is aimed at preschoolers. The next level up is a big jump. Yeah, and that's something else I've wondered, Carol. And since that's become more available, our kids have grown up. I mean, we didn't grow up with much cable. We had pretty basic stuff, even my kids growing up. And we didn't have the internet. When there wasn't streaming channels, we didn't have any of that. So we had less of that. And the videos that came through the door, honestly, when our girls were little and up until they were at least in middle school, were pretty much Disney type movies. And, we sat down and watched all or most of them with them. Well, up to the point of where we'd seen them 1,400 times, and then we kind of let them do it on their own. But okay, Michelle, I am so sorry to hear that. Perhaps you could, take your computer and go down to the hotel and get a room, because I have to ask, are they screaming and being loud because they're winning or losing? That does make a difference. Brenda says that it's because their Baptist church told everyone that there was an AC/DC music in it. Yeah, that's true. Well, I wasn't going to act like I knew who it was. And Rhonda says, depends on the venue. With Amazon, you can go in and allow and disallow things individually. And we didn't have a cable, so I watched it from my friends' houses. Well, that's it. That's just it too. Once kids start going out to other places, they tend to lose that some of that you may have different restrictions, let's say. And you never know, they may be more strict, or they may be less strict, or once they get over there, those kids know how to defeat the system and just, do what they want. Okay, ladies, no plotting for after school. Amazon did really well with parental controls, but a lot of that is because of all the kids buying things, so they had to protect them. So that's maybe true. And okay, Carol, I used to support it and tell people how to set it up when I worked there. Oh, you worked there? Well, that's interesting. Rhonda, we'll have to talk about that sometime. And yes, we watched cable at my friend's house. I was smart enough not to tell my mom I was watching it. And that's another thing. Our kids grow up. I don't know that kids are smarter than we were, but they are certainly more, or maybe I should say it this way. Carol, you can correct me here on my grammar and the word usage, but I don't know that they're more intelligent than we are, but they are certainly smarter in the ways of today's technology and usage and things like that. And so, yes, I mean, as soon as we're out the door or our backs are turned, then it's usually Katie bar the door. Michelle said I used to love babysitting because they had HBO. I don't even know what cable was till I was in my teens. And then we still only got a few channels. Nothing like today. My mom didn't really care about that as long as I wasn't bugging her. More technically savvy. Yeah, they are. I mean, they really are. I mean, my kids used to set up the TV for my parents, and they could fix Granddaddy Don's TV better than I could, or he could, certainly better than he could. And mine too, for that matter. And chances are they knew how to fix something. Honestly, I believe if I set, and I don't know how many parental controls we set, but again, we only had like one TV for a long time, and everybody watched that TV or nothing at all. And when they got a little TV for their bedrooms, usually that was just something on the antenna, and they got ABC, NBC, and CBS probably, and that was about it. Well, that's true too. Diana, we had the technology we had when I was going to school was an overhead projector. I do think they still use those, but that was high tech for me. I'm surprised, Diana. Rhonda, we need to talk about that more. That's an interesting thought there. I'd like to know which streams you're talking about. How many children do you have, Tim? Well, Brenda, how many did you have? I had two. We had two daughters, and to show our age, our oldest one will be 40 this year, and our youngest one is 35, or will be. So I don't have kids anymore. I've got adults that left us and have left us alone. We had Apple. It's good. We actually had a lot more than kids have now. Let me take that off. Sorry. My friends, I'm trying to read, guys, and keep up. So pardon me, but I'm wanting to get this involved. My friend's older brother used to recommend movies to us. I'm still recovering from Friday the 13th. I think Brendan and I went to see Friday the 13th at a friend's house when we were working when I was in Nashville, and we were in our mid 20s because they had one of the first Betamax machines, and I'm not kidding, Betamax machines. And I haven't watched a Halloween type movie since then. Or maybe it was, I don't know. It could have been Nightmare on Elm Street. All I know is that ruined me. I didn't like scary movies before, and I dang sure haven't watched one since. Rhonda says she was a weird child. Wizard of Oz and Willy Wonka terrified her. I was good with Jaws. Thought that was stupid. Well, Wizard of Oz scared the crap out of me too. And I didn't have any heroes in Wizard of Oz. I mean, I didn't like the flying monkeys. I wasn't that crazy about the Wizard of Oz. I mean, why does a grown man hide behind the curtain unless he's up to no good? Willy Wonka didn't bother me. Although, I thought about falling into some of those candy vats. That wasn't too much fun. Tim has 2 daughters that he knows of. Very funny. And that's all we'll say about that. I don't like tornadoes. No, I don't like tornadoes either. I don't know if that means that Dorothy should have been a hero because she lived through a tornado or not. Hang on just a minute, folks. I'm stopping up here. Now, back to the show. Okay, I saw something that caught my attention. Rhonda, you're trying to gear up to watch my friend's new movie, but it's horror. Now, what friend do you have? This somebody you know make movies? Because that's a story we'll have to talk about someday. Mike says Diana lets our son watch scary movies all the time. Well, now, if my kids hang out with my wife, they do too, or did too. I don't know at what point she thought it was okay. I had nightmares about that witch, but I still love the movie. I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I really don't watch that movie a whole lot even now. Although the monkeys don't scare me as near as bad. And Diana says he doesn't watch TV, Microbot. He's too busy killing people in video games, which is another good point about desensitizing people. I don't know how much, I don't know that I ever thought about something like that doing it, but oh yeah, Brenda would be glad to watch it with you, Rhonda. She's a scream queen, if you will. She likes all that stuff. And Michelle says, no scary movies for us. Okay, Michelle, tell me something. Is that for the whole household? I'm just curious if anybody there is being held back from their scary movie desires or if everybody in the house is just that way, because I just go to another room when Brenda's watching stuff like that. The Wizard of Oz was disturbing. The witch got crushed by a house and her legs are sticking. Yeah, they are, Mike. I mean, think about that for a minute. And I'm going to laugh about it, and then I'm going to say, that's kind of confusing for kids, I know a lot of people, but I lost that particular friend I grew up with. Oh, okay. Terror trips. I can actually make a watch part of on Amazon. Oh, a watch party? Oh, well, Brenda'd be all about that, Rhonda. Oh, good. Maybe you guys will get together and do a scary movie watch party, and I can come downstairs and watch hockey. 14 blind monkeys. Blind monkeys? Did I say blind monkeys? Kind of was another scare. Here's the trailer. Oh, okay, Rhonda. Well, everybody check out Rhonda's trailer. I'm surprised you. How'd you post that? Oh, wait a minute. That's right. You can post things. Duh. I would watch it on Watch Party, but I'd have to watch through my fingers. Come on, Carol. Or you can watch something with me like Red Green or Brenda. Do you want to do an Amazon Watch Party? Brenda, you're being talked to. Yeah, Brenda likes. She likes about anything scary movie wise. She really likes some of the old classics. I'll give her that. The trailer is clean. That's interesting. Since you took the time to point that out, Rhonda, I'll assume some of the other parts aren't. Have a good night, everybody. See you next time. Hey, Mike, thanks for coming in, buddy. Is you making Diana go off with you, or does she get to stay? Have a good day, buddy. Have a good day tomorrow. I don't like gore, which is why I quit watching horror. Yeah, I don't, and that's another thing about movies. I mean, and I know I'm an old fuddy duddy, but I don't necessarily like gore just for the sake of gore. And I do think that's another part of desensitizing people. Honestly, this movie is probably old school horror, but I don't know for sure. No, you're free on Saturday mornings. That's very funny, Brenda Pruitt. Yeah, she's free, all right. Okay, Diana. Thanks for coming in. It's getting late here, too, Brenda keeps reminding me. Appreciate you guys being here. Means a lot. I mean, so getting back to where this kind of started was, I mean, you guys feel like some of that really does play into some of the violence that we seem to be getting into these days? I mean, I know, how do I put this? I do think it has a lot to do with your upbringing. I'm not sure it's just all on your parents. And, I'll have to admit, I grew up in an age where most moms still stayed home. Now, whether that's the whole answer or not, I don't know. I know people now who run. I know kids now that go to some really good preschools and things like that. Not just your old fashioned daycare where there's not much in the way of learning. If I had gotten to do something like that when I was a yonker, I think it would have just pushed me off in probably in the right direction. I might have done some things I wanted to do after high school sooner than I did. So yeah, let's get back to the heroes because I don't really necessarily think Frankenstein and Dracula is necessarily a hero. Although compared to today's movies, those are pretty gore free. Gore free. It almost sounds like a diet food for zombies, maybe. Brenda loves zombies too. Okay, Brenda. Yes, it is. Everybody in here that knows anything about me knows it's easy to chase me to run off and chase a squirrel or a rabbit or whatever happens to run by. Possum. So anyway, that takes me back to heroes, and like I said, I'm not going to go real long tonight. I'm going to save up a little bit for next time because I'm going to have a lot more to talk about next time. I mean, I have a lot more people that I'd like to mention as heroes that I think should get attention. And not saying they don't, but I think they're people that are really trying to make a difference in this world. And most of them do get some notoriety from it, but all of them don't. And I think they're setting really good examples for what we ought to be and maybe where we should be headed. And I don't think personally if your heroes are what we call goody two shoes growing up, I don't think that takes anything away personally from an individual's life philosophy. I mean, I don't do things today because I watched Roy Rogers, shoot the gun out of the bad guy's hand rather than, blow his head off. And again, that's me. Of course, they pulled the cartoons I watched off when I was a kid offline because they said they were too violent. Some of the Bugs Bunnies and Daffy Ducks, and for that matter, even some of the Mickey Mouses were probably not what some people think are good, entertaining viewing for young children these days. Thank you, Rhonda. You tell her. That's the best part of talks with Tim. Yeah, I tend to agree. I would like to see more heroes who don't put up with injustice rather than those who get revenge. Yeah, and that is part of what I'm trying to say, Carol. I mean, you're right. That's more succinct to the point. I mean, they don't, and I think that was part of what I was trying to say about the old guys, the old movies and the old code of honor, if you will, was they took the bad guys in for justice rather than just revenge. I mean, they didn't necessarily press for revenge to be the final goal, and try to do. We're talking cookware. Brenda, you're not helping anybody. Yeah, I appreciate that, Carol, because that is right to the point. I think that. So I don't know. I mean, wow, that's a good point. I'm glad you put. I'm glad you cooked it down to that because that is kind of what I was talking about before. Shopping. Wow, I get no respect in here. Let's see. Carol hasn't joined that conversation, I don't think. Okay, Carol, it's me and you. I think until I see if you've jumped in. I'm not going to add to that, Rhonda, although I'm not even going to say anything. But anyway, I do think if people were more looking for justice rather than just looking to make a point or prove they're the meanest and the baddest, I think we lost something there in our fiction or in our storytelling. Storytelling used to be about heroes and legends and myths and things that weren't necessarily just directed at who got revenge or who cut whose head off, even though sometimes that might have been part of the story. It wasn't wasn't necessarily the end result wasn't necessarily the point. Now sometimes I guess it was because ultimately they were trying to bring somebody in for justice, and sometimes justice ends bloody. I guess if you think about certain kinds of capital punishment, but I don't think that's the real point, and it wasn't always the point before. And I think a lot of legends and heroes and myths that we were told and mythologies didn't always go down that point of just revenge. And the only way we're going to succeed or be ahead is if we kill everybody else off. Okay, well, Carol says, She's about to bust my balloon here, I think. Well, since Tim thinks I'm not enjoying the cookware conversation, I guess I won't ask Brenda if she's planning a fried green tomatoes type of meal. By the way, Tim, lock the back door. Oh, well, thanks for telling me. Somebody could come in here and get me. Okay, Carol. Jonathan, how about me and you talk about heroes for a few minutes? And maybe it's down to me and you at this point. Jonathan's going to jump into the cooking thing. He's all the time talking about cooking. And he's cooked up some things that sounded pretty good, too. I'm not turning this in. If I give up and turn this strictly into a cooking show, I'll never live it down. Although I guess it would be good conversation. You're sorry-ish. I don't know if I'd see any. What's the right word here? I'm not sure how genuine that is, Carol. Oh, now Brenda's talking about a hero. She's talking about the fried green tomato person. She was a hero in that movie because she bashed up those smart aleck kids' car. That's why you liked it. Just a stir fry with hot peppers. Michelle, do you have school tomorrow? Going to miss that. Do you have school tomorrow? Going to school, Mom. Can I argue to going to school tomorrow at school? You're gonna have to retype that, Michelle. Even I can't read that. I've had that problem with my fingers lately, but most people do a lot better than I do. Ish. She's a teacher, Rhonda. She has these judicious ways of using modifiers or whatever they're called, like ish, to give them more meaning. Man, I just started reading whatever that was. I started reading it too, Rhonda, but I couldn't keep up with it. Something happened there in the translation. Between here and California, that stuff went round and round. Hey, Shelley, welcome in. Well, we were trying to talk about heroes, and I still am a little bit, but it may turn into hero sandwiches because somebody came into the room once and started let it be known that she was looking at cookware, and now things have just gone plumb off the rail to a degree. I have many reasons why Tim Truitt is my hero. Oh, well, thank you. Now you're trying to make up for the cooking comments. My microphone is on and it was recording everything I was telling everyone. Do you have school tomorrow? Going to school, Mom. Can I or you go to school tomorrow? At school tomorrow, do you do what happened? I love that. Seriously. I want my kids and my students to think for themselves, to make decisions based on what is right, whether it makes them look good or not. I think that's another really good point, Carol. I somewhere along the way, that's something that I figured out, that to tell the truth and to be honest and to make those decisions, no matter who it makes look, that it's not. Oh golly, I know I'm going to get hate mail for this, but in this, it's all about me world we live in to some degree. I think there's a lot of ways to be self-centered and take care of yourself without necessarily always trying to make yourself look good or better than everybody else. Heroes can be cooks when you're hungry. Well, that's a good point, Jonathan Chong. We'll talk about one of my heroes next week that does a lot of that. Oh, you were arguing. Was Gabriel winning or were you winning? Hey, Jonathan, Shelley said. Shelley, did you know who I had another hero growing up? At least at a certain age when I discovered him, and that was Ansel Adams. I don't know, maybe that's a hero, maybe it's not, but I sure loved his work. Shelley, did you ever have anybody in particular that you looked up to in the photography field that helped pique your interest, or did you just stumble upon it? And there's so many great photographers out there now, though it'd be really hard to pin just one. Or for me, it would. But Ansel Adams certainly was an early one. He's insisting there's no school tomorrow, but he's off on Monday, not Friday. Well, maybe he's hoping for a long weekend, Michelle. I could give him the day off tomorrow, but I'm not sure I have jurisdiction in California. Ansel Adams is legendary. Well, he takes his pictures from focal point being so. But yes, he always worked in really large format, Jonathan, and he just had the eye for it. I mean, I don't know if he ever took a color photograph in his life either. It was all done in black and white, and they were all just so well. I'm sure he didn't take every. I'm sure every photograph he took wasn't perfect, but I'm sure the ones that we see sure are. I mean, if he's like and I mean, his day and age, or the kind of cameras he used, I should say, you couldn't take lots of extra film with you into the woods, or it's not like a digital camera today where you can take 200 shots of a pileated woodpecker and then pick out the ones that turned out good, like most of us do. You know, he had to try to get them right the first time as often as possible. Glass plates in the mountains and hauling all that equipment up was no small task. And I'm chasing that rabbit, and I created that. But now Art Wolf was very good too, Shelley. Absolutely. I don't know if is he still around. I'm not sure. I mean, it seems like he. I don't know. I'm not sure how old he is or was. But yes, his work is very good. And the squirrel guy, which is the squirrel? Who's the squirrel guy? I mean, we're sitting here talking about it. I mean, Shelley is is a very good wildlife photographer. We're gonna see her work all over the world here one of these days. I'm quite sure. Oh, he does have an Instagram. Okay, so he is still around. I wasn't sure. For some reason, I had him thinking he was older, but um, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. Well, it was just my mistake then. I'm probably thinking somebody else, but I was going to ask you about the. Now I'm going to chase it. In this case, a fox. Charlie, I was going to ask you where you got the fox. Now I can't think of the name that you did have, because those are really cool, but they're certainly not native in Michigan. So were you at, hey, Space Mountain Dave Contrell, welcome in. Were they, Tim was we think of Tim as the squirrel guy. Okay. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate, or Carol, thank you. Oh, he used to do live streams on Thursday evening. Oh, that's interesting. No, it's not. It's because she protected her friend and got rid of her friend's husband. It was very. No, what are you? Now that sounds like a. What story are you on there? Been there with the camera. Yeah, yes, I've done that before too, Johnson. It's a very. Oh yeah. See, Rhonda, that confuses some people that think I'm a squirrel guy, or maybe they just think I'm squirrely. Um, Fennec fox, yes, Shelley. Thank you very much. Garland Zoo in the upper. Oh, in the upper UP. Well, I didn't. Cool. That's not where you went to see the black bears, is it? Or is it? Yeah, Shelley's, by all means, post her photos. I'm a big fan of Shelley's photographic work. Fennec foxes are neat. Honestly, most foxes are pretty cool. And they're very smart. I know you won't want to hear this part, but I've known fox trappers that worked all their life to learn how to trap a fox because a fox was so smart they figured it out and was very there. I mean, I knew some people that were very good at that, but most people weren't. The foxes are much smarter than most people. Oswald Black Bear Ranch. That was in the UP, but it's further north. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, Rhonda. How far were you, Shelley, from that Fennec fox? Shelley's got some nice lenses, so I would so love to start rebuilding my photographic equipment locker. Yeah, and its ears are just about as big as the whole rest of it is. A Fennec fox, I can't remember how big their ears can stand up off their head. They're like 3 or 4 inches, maybe more than that. Just the ears alone. Okay, since we've detoured, I'm going to say this. There's some really interesting fox videos online on YouTube if you've ever want to look. 6 inches. Well, that's what I thought, Shelley, and I was afraid to say that because I thought, well, they're only 6 or 8 inches long. Maybe somebody will think I'm making that up, but I thought they were because they're huge. I mean, they've got really big ears, and that's because of where they live. They live in the desert, and they need that for cooling. It helps radiate body heat away, and also probably for hearing because they're living in a hard place to find food. Oh no, not that funny, Michelle. I mean, you'd think maybe so, but not really so much. I mean, they're just I don't know. When you see one, if you haven't seen Shelley's picture, go look. But when you see one, they somehow they fit. They almost remind me of the crystal foxes that were in the last Star Wars. No, maybe not the last Star Wars movie, but the one where they were inside the bunker or whatever, and they were, the last one that where Luke did, gave, passed on, and they had the crystal foxes and kind of showed them the way out of the stronghold there, and they went out the back, and those foxes had kind of big ears. I thought those reminded me a little bit of Fennec foxes at the time. My Google Pixel phone has made me lazy. Actual big cameras taking awesome pics like the buildings in the city. Yeah, Google's supposed to have their Pixel cameras are supposed to have some really good photographic properties. I've read that too. Well, okay. I don't know. You guys are coming up with the scary movie party. You can set that up without me offline, I guess. And those who are shopping for cookware can talk to my wife about that. And the rest of us will just have to come up with something, I guess. I have so many. Well, I've said this before. I'm actually seriously looking at trying to figure out buy a device to convert a lot of my photographs from slides onto digital, so I can, you know. Yeah, Shelly, if you're the Rhonda and Brenda, and I'm not sure who, maybe Carol, are all talking about getting together for some kind of a Amazon movie party or something. I don't know how that works. Well, there you go, ladies. There's one more for the party. Somewhere along the way, we talked about somehow scary movies came up and just derailed the whole conversation. Actually, I was about to wind it down for tonight. And next week, study up because it's going to be homework next week. I'm organizing a watch party to watch Terror Trips, my friend's movie. Hit me on IG if you want it. If you want in. Well, there you go. You guys can hit up Rhonda and work that out. Brendan, if you don't know how to do that, I'll help you out. If you don't have her on your friends list or whatever. And I'll just wish all of you a very merry time with that, and I'll probably watch something else. I'll have one last thing to say about blood and gore and guts and the hero worship or hero things that maybe we experience today. And that's, I got to where I just didn't like so much gratuitous blood and guts and all that. I didn't watch Game of Thrones because when I did start watching it when it first came on. And there just seemed to be so much gratuitous killing and chopping and cutting off of things, and that I don't know, I just didn't. It didn't. I won't. It wasn't like it was scary. That's not why. It left me feeling bad. I mean, it just wasn't. I couldn't. Thank you, Michelle, for coming in. We're getting ready to leave too, or I am anyway. I have not seen the new Top Gun yet, Shelley. Michelle and them went to see it the other night, and the theater was closed, I think, but I don't know if they've gone back yet or not. I'm debating, Shelley. Would you recommend it? True, that's true, Shelley. It just didn't. I don't know. That's when I've gotten to where I just don't. This is dumb, but I find that I feel too connected to the people who are getting killed somehow. That makes any sense. Well, that could have been it too, Rhonda. I think maybe there's in some ways I think there's too much. I have too much. I'm too much of an empath maybe to enjoy some of that. And I don't know. I could be full of it, but maybe that makes sense. I read the first few GOT books. I decided not to watch the show. Well, I almost bet the books were better, but I could be wrong. Carol, I have, speaking of books, I have, if I can ever get copies, I have a book I want to send you for your preschool. If I ever can. Right now the copies aren't available. Well, I kind of do too, Shelley. That was not something that's just something that seems like I've reached an age where it affects me more. But I certainly used to enjoy that kind of movie a lot, and some of them I still do. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Shelley. A lot of people did. I know I'm one of the minority. Rhonda, if I might intercede here just a little bit, Brenda is available pretty much 24/7 any day you want her. I mean, truth of the matter is, unless we have a doctor's appointment these days, we don't have a whole lot going on. You know, Shelley, in some ways that's funny because I've read, I mean, what I was saying about the gore and the guts and all that, because I've read a lot of historical stuff, and you're right. Depending on the time of the part of time and history we were looking at, it's very bloody and full of gore and guts and killing and whatnot. And I've read a lot of that in my lifetime and still do. So, oh, I got to ask you a question about that, Shelley. Don't go away here. I have a question just for you, if you can answer it. You may not be able to, but I heard something tonight about that, and I want to ask you a question. I have something on Saturday for an hour or so, and I have to see when the AC people are going to come, and I'll let you know. Yeah, like I said, Brenda's not that tied up with time, so I'm pretty sure she can work you into her tight and busy schedule. That's true, Shelley. A lot of us probably wouldn't be here still. I used to read a lot of history, American history, and the frontier is as Europeans as I say, but the early American settlers, aka Europeans, moved of European descent, moved west. Some of the things that happened as they intermingled from both sides, some of the worst were actually on the the settler side, were horrible. Some of the things they did to each other. Stranger Things. Where was it filmed, Rhonda? In Georgia? Well, isn't everything these days? Yes, it was filmed there, huh? Hey, Amy, welcome in. We're sort of closing down, but not doing it in a big hurry here. I was going to ask Shelley something. I'll go ahead and throw it out there. I heard a commercial tonight for, I believe it was for Stranger Things, a new season or a new movie or something coming out. And the music they were playing in the movie was very unique. And not many people I know have ever heard it or heard of it. And it was music that was created and performed originally. And I believe on this commercial I heard by a lady named Kate Bush from England. Are you familiar with Kate Bush, Sally, at all? Part 5, July 1st. Oh, that's not far away. Someone I know made the t-shirts for the first season. Rhonda, do they make something like Stranger Things somewhere off on a set? It's all part of where they do. Carol, I love you. You like Kate Bush too? My goodness, be still my heart. I don't know many people that even know who she is. And I just saw a special about her the other day on something. Let me climbing up. Yes, climbing up that hill. Exactly. That was the song they were playing, Shelley. So you know who she is also. Well, it's amazing. I'm saying that because you may be the only other two people I know who ever knew who she was, other than the guy that turned me on to her originally. And that was my buddy Phil. And so I've got a bunch of her music, and he had everything she ever had. And then at some point he gave me, I think I've got her vinyl. At that point, I don't know what she did after that, but and then my turntable broke, so I haven't listened to vinyl in a long time. But okay, got you, Rhonda. Climbing up that hill. That's Mad Max's favorite song in Part 4. You mean part 4 of Mad Max, the whatever that was called, the last? I've not seen that either. Well, that's interesting. She did some strange. I mean, she did some. You should get a new turkey. I know I should, Shelley. I should. I really should. Mine actually might work. I think it might just need a belt, but I'm not sure I can find one today for it. It wasn't a very expensive turntable, so it was the best I could afford at the time. And right now, I couldn't tell you what kind it was. Even part 4 of Stranger Things. Okay. Wait a minute. What's Mad Max got to do with Stranger Things? Not the same Mad Max dad joke. What's a dad joke? I don't know, Brenda. Brenda, you watch Stranger Things? Maybe. Hey, Ian, you're back. You know that song too? Well, good for you. Well, since you made it back in, I don't know if you're here to stay or if you're just passing by again, but how about that game the other night? Dad joke. Where's the dad joke, Brenda? Have you seen Doctor Strange? No, I wanted to watch Stranger Things. Ha ha ha. That she made that up. Pretty sure. Mad Max's character's name. Oh, okay. Well, see, now that shows you how much I know about it. Because when you said Mad Max, I thought of the Mad Max movies. You know, Mel Gibson in the first couple, and then I don't know after that. Hey, Ian, I think this whole series might be like that. I'm kind of hoping it is, actually. Because I actually believe it could go 7 and be 7 really good games. I guess we'll see tomorrow, or Saturday, but we will see. That was good. That was good. I thought for a little bit that the Avs were going to blow them out, and then I really thought maybe that whole not much rest thing was going to have an effect, but then they kind of proved me otherwise. Brenda, what was the show you used to watch that was sort of a throwback on horror stuff? Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it actually came out in the 70s. I can't remember what that name of that guy's name was. Something else I didn't watch. So, oh no! Don't ever be sorry for doing family time, man. That's more than. In fact, that's far more important than me or anything I've got to say. Absolutely. It might have been Dark Shadows. Kolchak? There was also something called Kolchak. Yeah, Brenda, I'm pretty sure Brenda watched Dark Shadows. And wasn't it, is it Kolchak or Kolchak or something like that? I'm maybe completely wrong. And I might have been thinking Dark Shadows, actually. That's why I'm not good with that kind of show. I just never really watched them. Like I said, Brenda, I'm surprised she didn't comment on that when we went to see that movie at our friends had. No, not Kojak. That was different. Yeah, that is old. I'm old, Ian. Well, maybe you remember Kojak too, but this was Kolchak or something. It was spelled differently. Kol. And I don't know. It was spelled oddly, or oddly for me. At least I think it was. Come on, Brenda, jump in here anytime to save me. I bet she's not listening now. Maybe I can look it up real quick. Ah, found it. It is Kolchak. The Night Stalker. That was it. Night Stalker. Kolchak. It was Brenda liked to watch that a lot. In fact, somebody's been showing some of them again just recently. Is Barnabas Collins part of Dark Shadow, Shelley? Yeah, it's 70s type material. It's you can tell by looking pretty quick. It might even be 60s, but I think it's 70s. Because I know that name, Barnabas Collins. I know that. Oh, he's the vampire. Okay, well that's why I know. I mean, I'll have to admit, Brenda, I can to some degree I could watch some. She likes really the old. Also likes the old classics with stuff like Boris Karloff and who played any other time I could think of them. Lon Chaney, but there was another guy, or maybe that was maybe Karloff's who I'm thinking about. Wasn't there another guy that was really tall who played werewolf or the werewolf? Night Stalker remake in 2005. Dark Shadows TV ran from 66 to 71. Okay. Well, late 60s, almost the 70s. What do I know? I was a kid back then. I was still trying to watch Then Came Bronson. I'm here to duck your blood. Cheesy act. Oh. And who said that, Ian? Oh, Dark Night Stalker? Okay. Every day after school. Karloff was Frankenstein. Bela Lugosi. Okay, that's another one. I'm here to suck your blood. Now, Shelley, I don't know about you, but yeah, I've always said that's what was wrong with Brenda all along. Hey, buddy, come here. Is it time to go lay on the couch? Maybe it's time to go to bed, huh? You're not going to get in the chair. That's usually a sign. Yeah, this cat he's smarter than the average bear. If he doesn't want if he wants to go somewhere else like the couch, he won't come over here and get in his chair. He'll come over here and beg or meow pitifully, but he won't get in his chair. So that's not what he's wanting. He's wanting me to go over there. So if I take my phone and my glasses and I pitch him over on the couch from here, he'll go running over there and wait on me. But this time of night, maybe he just wants me to go to bed. I don't know. What's wrong with Brenda? Well, probably nothing. Actually, she would probably have a far better story to tell about what's wrong with me. But I just used to say that because she watched so much of that scary stuff. Or the stuff I didn't really want to watch. Let's put it that way. I'm telling for a guy, I think he wasn't afraid of nothing. Or how did we used to say that? I was afraid of that, and I ain't afraid of nothing. But I just never liked that stuff. And the scary stuff was not my forte. And I have no idea why. It's not like I thought that stuff was real. I just didn't like it. I'm telling you, it goes back to Wizard of Oz somehow. Maybe Jonathan or whoever's right. Maybe it's a combination of the witch's legs hanging out from under the house and those flying monkeys and, that wicked witch looking in the window and all that stuff together. What? You want to come up here and say goodnight? You want to say goodnight? Ian doesn't like scary movies either. Well, Ian, you and I'll go watch something else. Come here. No, not picked up. No pickup. He laid down flat. He glued himself to the floor. Oh, me too, Shelly. That's for me and your hubby. That's what I didn't like. The flying monkey scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Is there jump I've ever seen? Well, Shelly, what's the difference between a horror movie and a zombie film? I thought they were the same thing. Oh, well, he'll be out celebrating for a while then, because that wraps that series up. That ends there. Come here. Come over here and say goodnight to Miss Carol, buddy. Okay, and then we'll go upstairs. We'll go to bed. Or we'll at least go for treat time. How about that? You want to get treats? You say hi? Say goodnight. I was okay with the tornado and the flying monkeys. It was that witch. T-shirt I wanted that said, "Don't make me bust out the flying monkeys." Oh, Shelly, that would have been horrifying. Say goodbye. Say good night, everybody. Not going to look up at the screen or the camera, are you? You used to be a whole lot more photogenic. I suppose it's acceptable for zombie gore, not slasher paranormal films. Yeah. Well, paranormal films on the creep scale of scary movies, paranormal films are they're their own kind of scary. All right, what's Brenda saying? There was the T-shirt was flying monkeys. I guess that's what she's talking about. Look at One Flew Out of the Cuckoo Nest, but horror, but Nurse Ratched is now like top of the horror characters today. Like that she might have been. Oh, they scare you too, Shelly. Okay. I mean, when what was that one a few years ago? The pants off everybody, and then they found out how they staged the whole thing. A bunch of kids had done it, and it was like almost no money to produce it, and it was what was that? Okay, Amy. Good night. We are getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to sign off for tonight. I'm done in, and so I'm going to do that. I could say you guys are welcome to stay and chat in the room. I don't know how long it'll last. If Brenda wanted to stay in here and talk with anybody about other plans, then that'd be fine. But that's I don't think it works that way. So I'll have to set it. But I'll have to get her to get her and help her set up. Just a scary movie chat one night. I'll have to get her to come online and be in the camera and you guys all talk about scary movies. How about that? We'll do a spooky movie chat string. Blair Witch. Thank you, Ian. That was the one I was trying to think of. Oh, good, Carol. You and I and Shelly can watch something else while these other people are watching paranormal stuff. Well, there's Garrett. He did come back in. Okay, I'm going to sign off tonight, guys, but I hope you can hit back next week. It'll be a lot different. Well, I think it's going to be a lot different. I have a different part of this thought line to carry out, so I will see Yeah, Gary, are you going to go down for the ticker tape parade or whatever they have? Anyway, good night, everybody. Thank you for coming in. Love y'all for being here. I really do appreciate it. If nothing else, it's an ego boost for me. It makes me feel halfway decent. It makes me think maybe somebody's listening or wants to listen, or maybe you guys just feel sorry for me. Either way, I'll take it. So good night. Have a good night, and I'll see some of you on Saturday. And those that don't, have a great weekend, and actually have a great June 13th or Juneteenth. I know some will celebrate that. I know some won't get it off. I don't know. I guess federal employees do, but probably not everybody else. I don't know yet. Anyway, thank you all, and have a good night.